Well, I remember when one of the first teasers came out, Carol was sitting next to Daryl with her shoulder, exposed, and everybody's like, "Oh, they're gonna get together." And I was like, "Okay, that's not what's happening, but what is happening?"
Today we are talking about Daryl Dixon Season 3 Trailer Talk. Welcome to Screens in Focus, the podcast where we talk about TV and movies. I'm Diana and Renee is here. Hi, Renee. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited. I say that all the time, but I can't help it. But really, truly, with this season, San Diego Comic-Con happened, and I feel like so much was divulged there. And then we saw the trailers, and I just get so excited. And maybe it's the world, The Walking Dead, and we're just back in it. But there's so much here. And so we're going to just talk about the trailer, what we thought, the highlights, Daryl, Carol, being in Spain, all of that. So I know what keeps us hooked is Carol and Daryl. But I also think what keeps us hooked is how global it is, because we loved when they were in France and just seeing them with different cultures, different people, just different things we hadn't seen before. And now they're going to go through London and get to Spain. Also, there's supposed to be this huge sequence in Aragon, if I'm even pronouncing it correctly, but some train scene that's supposed to be pretty epic and show defining. So with all of that, I want to know what struck you in the trailer or what's a highlight for you.
I think just overall, all the action we're seeing in these trailers, and it feel like they're doing the whole spaghetti Western kind of influence and things, which is fun. I remember watching those with my dad as a kid, so it's like, it's fun to see that. But I think just all of the action and, I feel like we're getting this like almost horror Western kind of thing going on, which is fun. But overall, I feel like the action is really going to be like another level, this season. And that's what really got me, because that's a lot of the good parts about The Walking Dead is the action sequences and all these, walkers everywhere and all these things. So that, and cinematically, I feel like, so we always, saw that, France, even though it was apocalyptic France, it was, just gorgeous. Well, now we got this completely different, Spain is completely different. But again, it's just amazing, and I read interviews with the actors, how they just cannot, they're just like in awe of how beautiful everything is every time they go to a different spot, and things like that. So I think that that's going to be really cool. And then we got a lot of new characters, and that's always fun to meet them.
Everything that you just said is such a highlight. I agree. It's cinematic. The whole Western apocalyptic world, that was another highlight for me. Yes, all the action that we see, Daryl on his motorcycle, you see explosions, and just the landscape of it all. It is gorgeous. Right. And so it's so exciting to see something so gorgeous, but is going to be so exciting. And also with that horror aspect with the walkers. So I think that's why I'm just like, yes, I cannot wait, because I love all those things. I love it. Western, horror, action, all of that. And so, yeah, I'm so looking forward to that. Also, we see this other community. And of course, like you said, we're going to get introduced to these new characters and what they're going through. And there's going to be some rebellion, some rebuilding. And so that's always interesting to see. So I just think there's a lot of a mix of chaos and strategy in all of this. So it's going to be really good. But the other thing I noticed, and I know you noticed it, and we're going to talk a little bit about it, is Carol's storyline and also this romance that we it appears to be a romance. So I wanted to know what you thought about Carol in this trailer and what you think this could mean for her.
Well, I remember when one of the first teasers came out, Carol was sitting next to Daryl with her shoulder, exposed, and everybody's like, "Oh, they're gonna get together." And I was like, "Okay, that's not what's happening, but what is happening?" And then I got worried that she was maybe assaulted or something. I was like, "Oh no, don't be something, really horrible." And then then they start kind of putting it together for us to show us that there's this man there. From what have read, they're very vague, of course, but I think it was Melissa McBride that had said that they have like similar paths and similar stories or whatever, and they're gonna teach each other things and learn from each other from their shared experience, or not shared necessarily, but similar experiences. So they're very vague, but they all keep saying, I think Gimple and David Zabel, they were all saying, but keep an eye on these guys, like that. So they're like, getting us excited about the possibility without telling. And I think that, it's been quite a while since, she was with Ezekiel, and, she's been through a lot, always. She's always been through a lot, but I wonder, this does lead to romance. Will her heart be more open to it, since she's kind of unburdened herself with all the trauma of Sophia's death that she never dealt with? And so, it'll be exciting to see how it all plays out,
Yeah. Because we've seen Carol go through being an abused wife, being a survivor, being the kingdom's queen, and then this grieving mother. So, and every stage has made her stronger, has shaped her, and just made her more complex. And so, with Ed, he was abusive and controlling. And Tobin, was it Tobin? I can't remember his name in Alexandria, but he was kind of steady, and then there was Ezekiel, charismatic, nurturing, caring. And so it makes me wonder what's, where are we going next for her? And she says in there toward the end, after time, if you're lucky, you start living again. And so I think that's where she's at in her headspace at this time. So it also made me curious, who can capture Carol's heart? So Ezekiel, saw her strength, her grief, her sharp edges, and he still loved her. With Daryl, but even though Daryl's her friend, he has seen it all and accepts her and can balance her. So it makes me wonder, romantically, what do you think she might need? Do you have any ideas about that?
Yeah, I feel like she needs a confident man who's not intimidated by her, because she can be very intimidating. I don't know that a relationship for Kara could work very well if the guy isn't confident in himself, because she's kind of no nonsense, and she's not going to want to have to nurture this person into, and that kind of thing. I think it's going to be someone who can come along beside her and try to learn and really understand her, and understand that this is how she is, and not expect her to change, because, she's already experienced how much change. She's the woman she needs to be for the apocalyptic world that she's developed into this person. And so I feel like whoever it is going to have to just accept her as she is, because, she's not changing this. She's a survivor. She's not a hard woman, which, a lot of her situations would have made her, could have made her a very hard woman. And she's not. She still has a lot of sympathy. She still has a lot of, that kind of stuff. But it's going to be, whoever he is, he's going to have to just understand this is how she is. And, love her or, love it or not, this is Carol.
Yeah. Yeah. As you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, this man would have to be confident, like you said, and also have some sort of a strategic mind in a way, because he does have to measure up to her, but he can't control her, and don't try to, because
that's not going to work.
That's not going to work. Yeah, exactly right. So it'll be interesting to see this new character and what he brings to her and what makes her interested in him. So I'm really excited to see this for Carol, because we did see it for Daryl already.
Yeah.
We saw, with Isabel, what that was like. So it's fun to think about Carol. Some people won't be happy, because some people still ship her with Daryl, but I used to really want them together, I think a long time ago, but I kind of accepted their friends, they're ride or die, they're there for each other, they're loyal. I don't know how I would feel if they did become romantic. I have no idea how that would feel. I might almost feel awkward, right? I'd be like, wait, what?
They can't. This is wrong. Yeah, I know. I agree. I've never wanted them together, just because I feel like if they ever did get together, it would ruin, and then break up, then it would ruin what they have. And, so I've always been like, nope, I don't want them together. And I mean, I love them together as this dynamic duo kind of thing, but I didn't want them to be together romantically. So I hope that that's how it stays. And I was going to mention something. So Antonio is the man that Carol, we see Carol with her. Did you see there's an episode of Behind the Dead? Walking Dead's been posting. They're really on YouTube. They're just short videos, but they're called Behind the Dead, and they kind of give you a glimpse into what's to come. Well, there's one where he's featured, the actor, and so he kind of gives a little insight into his character and things. And so it was interesting because it was just a small little blurb about him, and then they showed like he has a wound on it, and they showed making him up, real quick. But it's a good one because it kind of just gives you a little insight into who this man is that we're going to meet.
Yeah. I did see, I saw the whole behind the scenes, and I saw a little piece with him, but that was all. So I don't know if there's another one. So I'll have to go look for it to see that. But soon enough, we'll be able to see the actual episode, and depending on where episode 1 takes us. So Daryl in this spaghetti Western style season feels like a cowboy on a motorcycle. So I would love to know what kind of cowboy archetype fits him. John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Butch Cassidy, or a new kind of modern outlaw. What do you think?
Yeah, he's always been the quiet lone wolf who just does the things that need done. He doesn't want anybody to acknowledge that he's doing these things. He doesn't want any cheers or any, he just wants to do what's right and just do it. I guess I feel like he's kind of like I would say like a modern Clint Eastwood. That's what I, with his motorcycle. And so that's kind of what I think of him, as, I guess, because I always feel like Clint Eastwood, tough guy, but he was always real quiet. Like he wasn't, he just did his thing, and so, so I kind of feel like that's more what he is, but with the modern twist because of the motorcycle, because of, just all how Daryl is and things. So, I'm excited to see this. And if they keep talking about these spaghetti westerns and things, it's going to be like, one-on-one fights. And there's going to be, and I don't remember if it's a trailer or a teaser, but Daryl's standing and this man comes, he's got a motorcycle and some crazy wicked thing come at him. I'm like, oh, here, that looks really cool. And then almost like a jousting thing at one time too for the motorcycles. So so there's that just all the shit has me so excited for this season. And of course, Cowboy Daryl. Who wouldn't want to see Cowboy Daryl?
Absolutely. So that image, when I think of the trailer, that what you just said is the image that I have in my head about Daryl and the motorcycle. It feels like jousting, exactly what it feels like to me. So for me, seeing him as a cowboy, I basically kind of have the same thought that you do, because I see him as a lone rider. So a little bit like Mad Max, but also like Clint Eastwood, because he can be a drifter. He's a wanderer. He's self-reliant. He's not looking for glory, but he's always down to fight if it's for, if people need him, if people really need him, or if he really cares about them. And that also is a reluctant protector because he doesn't want the spotlight. I think you mentioned that. And he always just steps up, whether it's like Judith, Rick's kids, and also Laurent and Isabel and Carol. So he's always there to support them or step up for them however he needs to. And so, he's just a cowboy rebel, and I love it. And he's absolutely a protector of the heart. So I can't wait to see more of him in those moments that you were talking about. But Daryl and Carol, their partnership, we talked about earlier, it's kind of like ride or die. They have each other's backs. We see them meet an Englishman here, and they get to a boat. Then there's a storm, which is going to be exciting in itself to watch them in that storm. And then they get to a place and they say, this doesn't look like Maine. And I think that's where we see that Carol may have had some head injury. And I think that's probably the night that she has her shirt off her sleeve and Daryl's maybe helping her. I don't know. That's just me thinking it's that part of it. So we will see when that happens. But through the trailer, we do see that the extortion, I guess, what it is that they have to give up these daughters for car full of, or whatever it is, of weapons. And I'm thinking, holy crap, because you see one girl being dragged off and it looks like the dad is like screaming for his daughter. And you hear Daryl say something like, I can't remember his exact words, but, we can't always step in. And Carol's all, we can't just do nothing, which is interesting. And so what do you think about their partnership and where you think we'll see them go this season?
Well, like I, kind of mentioned before, they just always work best together. They just always do. They just complement each other very well. They, they can anticipate the other one's moves and things, and they just work well together in any situation. Yeah, we see all this stuff in London, then we see them shipwrecked again. Poor Daryl, he's just got to stay off boat, I think. But it's these trailers and teasers that we're getting are so fast. You're just like, of course you can't piece them. They don't want you to piece it together, but I'm always trying to piece it together. But so it's hard to say. But they definitely, a lot of times I think they almost do too much for people because it always gets them in trouble then, they're trying to protect another group and do this stuff. So, there's something about, there's a king too, like they're trying to, the new king of Spain. Yeah, they say something about that. And, so they're up against this man who's declared himself probably the king now, or whatever. So it's going to be, interesting to see how all this unfolds. And I think at one point too, it looks like Daryl must go on like a solo mission at one point also. And I don't know, again, don't know anything. I just, he's alone, he's gone. So it'll be interesting to see what that is. But just overall,
maybe he's going to get one of the girls that they just took.
Could be. Very well, because that would be something he would do. And I think it was Norman Reedus in an interview, he mentioned how this season has them questioning whether they're doing the right thing of fighting and running and fighting and running. And so it'll be interesting, what he made that comment. So obviously that's, crucial to their story this season. So it'll be interesting to see what that leads to then. If they, I don't think they'll decide to stay in Spain, but who knows? I don't know.
I know, right? Where will we see them next before they hopefully arrive home? Who's to say? Because I don't know that we even talked about it. We may talk about it as we talk about the first episode, but this is the next season. Season 4 will be the last season. So we know that they're gearing up for something. But man, I'm just so excited about this season and watching both of them work together and to see how, even though they're partners and they do everything that they'll support each other no matter what, they do have different approaches or different thoughts. They're different people. And so it's just like friends, right? You have friends and sometimes you have different, even your partner, so there's different ideas that you come toward things. And so he's ready to like, okay, let's go. Cause he's probably, he's been there a lot longer than she has. And he's all, I'm ready. Let's go. I've helped enough people. I've lost people. Mind you, he has lost Isabel. And now Laurent is on his way, hopefully, to the Commonwealth. So his mind is there too, right? Yeah. So Carol's isn't, because Carol just arrived. So she's only been with Daryl for, this, however long this may be, but he's been there a lot longer and he's had a loss there, a painful loss. And so maybe he wants to get back to where Laurent is too. So I can see how they're in different spaces right now. And so they have to deal with that. And she, again, is strategic and she's trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? And Daryl comes around because he can't, I know he does, because he's like, oh man, I can't see people, innocent people, or just like when he helps kids or he helps people that can't fight against a group of people or whatever it might be. And so he's going to be sucked in. I know it. And he's just going to have to help. Yep. He's going to want to help. And together they're just going to do it. I know it. Carol and Daryl. And and I love Daryl says in the trailer, let's keep never giving up. So I can't wait to see all the action. Okay, so what are you hoping to see that maybe we didn't see? Or do you have any predictions, or what are you excited to see?
I don't have a lot of predictions because it's just, here we're switching again. We're going, a whole new, we don't even know who these people are. Do you see, are they friends or not? We just see all this stuff. So prediction wise, I don't have a lot there just because I don't know enough, but I am excited for that train sequence that you mentioned because they've said that it will blow viewers away is what they've said about the scene. So I'm so excited for that sequence. Norm Reedus also said that Daryl is back in Motorhead mode, which he kind of compared it to he goes, it's like, he's compared Daryl listening to the Smiths and then you switch it to Motorhead. And so, very ends of the spectrum for musically, music wise. And I feel like that's again kind of goes hand in hand with all this action that we're seeing because that would be him in that mode, So that was exciting to hear that. And then another thing that I'm really curious about is so when they're in London. So I from what I understood and what I've read, the first episode will be in London, and that's when they meet Stephen Merchant's character Julian. And they released the first 2 minutes or something of the first episode. And they walk in and they're like, where are all the people? And there's nobody. So I want to know why. I mean, I'm sure we'll get that explanation, but I'm like, I really want to know why are there no people in London? Because he says, I'm the last Englishman, and where did they go or were they all dead or what happened? So I'm really interested in that. I think that first episode is going to be kind of fun because it's just a little, stop in London before they go, go their way or whatever. So those are just a few things that I'm really looking forward to.
Well, when you said that, it reminded me of 28 Days Later, how when he's walking through and there's nobody around.
Yeah.
So, ooh.
Yeah. So
that you're right. That is kind of scary. But,
yeah.
But, a lot of people are not just walking out and about, I guess. I don't know. We'll find out. I hadn't thought about that. So I love that you brought that up. I am really looking forward to the zombies. I felt in Dead City, I enjoyed it a lot, but it didn't have as many zombies as I wanted. It really didn't. And I see them here, and we'll get to see that railroad scene, which I'm assuming is going to have a lot of them. So, I want to see them because I feel like they're part of the danger. They're part of the storytelling. And I think I'm ready for this creative storytelling and these great Walker moments. So that's what I'm hoping for. So of course, with Daryl and Carol, I want them to go home. I want them to, and of course, by season 4, hopefully they are, but we know we're building toward that. So I think it's a bit bittersweet because it's always good to end with people wanting more. So I'm thinking that's where we're heading here. But that Aragon train scene, I think you know a little bit more about it than I did. So if you want to share that information, I would love that.
Yeah. So it's the ruins of Belchite. It's Belchite. And so in 1937, during the Spanish Civil War, it was attacked and just annihilated. I feel like it was population of 4,000 people there, and then it was down to 2,600 people, but thousands of people, including civilians, were killed during this battle, and things was really, it was bad. And then, so when his victory, General Franco, who was the opposing, I think nationalists is what they were called, he ordered the ruins to be left untouched as a memorial to the war. So that's why it's just like it is. It's just exactly how it was and things. And so they had to get permission to film there, which is where the train, they had to find a train line, but there was, I guess, very near there, that site then is where the train is. So it's just, it's just, historically kind of interesting. And that's one thing too with Daryl Dixon. I think why it is another reason that it's so interesting is they didn't, I read they were talking about this, how they said that it wasn't an American series just moved over here. Yeah, they immersed it into the history of wherever they're at, using things like this, very, locations that were historic, it's the catacombs in France, that was so cool to see that, and just how they integrated those things that you're kind of familiar with. Oh, this happened and that. So I think that's a lot of the appeal of this series over some of the others, because of all that history. And, and they hire a lot of, wherever country they're in. Yeah, they're all, casting, but crew as well. There's lots of writers and different things that are, live in those countries. And but anyway, so it'll be very interesting to see how they use the space. And like I said, I've probably said it 3 times now, that train scene. It's going to be really, they've got me super excited, so they better live up.
They better not let us down, because we're waiting for that scene. So, and I'm so glad you mentioned the crew and the cast of people, because I think that is part of the draw. And I think that heightens even the American actors and directors and executive producers that go there too, because the excitement of other people, other cultures, other countries coming into this world gets them excited, gets the OGs excited. So it's kind of like, oh man, it's just fun to, revisit all this with them and have new people so excited about something. So yeah, I love that. I love it. So anyway, with Daryl and Carol's partnership and high stakes and the Spanish landscapes and that epic train scene, season 3 is shaping up to be huge. So tune in to the premiere September 7th. And Screens in Focus will be breaking down each episode. So make sure you come back and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts, or go to YouTube. We'll be there too. So let us know what you think, what you're expecting, what your hopes are. We'd love to hear it. You can reach out to us on social media, and you can get to all of that at screensinfocus.com, which is in our show notes. And then you can get to our website and then go to our social media and reach out that way. If you're watching us on YouTube or Spotify, you can comment wherever you see us, because we'd love to hear from you. And we also have a phone number if you want to reach out and actually call us. We do have callers call in. So that's 669-223-8542. That's also in the show notes. Yeah, please share with us whatever you think, because we'd love to talk about it during the episodes. All right. That wraps up our conversation on Daryl Dixon's season 3 trailer talk. We do have a few recommendations for you, TV and movie recommendations. So Renee, if you want to let us know what you're watching, what you recommend.
So I'm watching the 2nd season of Wednesday. It was it 4 episodes? I forget. I don't know. It wasn't a lot of episodes, and then the rest, there'll be more coming. But yeah, it's grabbing me as much as the first season. But I'm going to watch it, of course. And then maybe it was just a mood I was in or something. But it just wasn't grabbing me as much as the first season. But it's not terrible, of course. And then there's new characters and things to always make it interesting and things. So I'm watching that. And then I started watching The Good Girls Guide to Murder, I think is what it's called. And it's kind of the same thing. It's interesting, but it's not very exciting, I guess. But everything that's going on, I got to keep watching to find out how. Yeah, and so, so I am, still going to watch it. And then I just happened upon this series called The Truth About the Harry Hubert Affair. It was from 2018. It's on Prime Video, and it stars Patrick Dempsey and some other familiar faces and things. But it was a good series. I watched it in a weekend, just kept hitting play because I thought, oh, this is the last one. And then there were more. I think maybe it was 10 episodes then. But it's just, kind of a murder mystery-ish kind of thing, and a lot of twists and things where you think one thing and then, oh, now here it is and stuff. But they make sense. I always hate when the twists are so weird that it's this is not even, doesn't make that. But they make sense and things. And so anyways, if you haven't ever seen that one, it's really good. And then the only movie I watched it came out on Netflix today. It was The Thursday Murder Club. I don't know why am I all or murder things, but that's where I'm at, I guess. It's that's something about murder. So anyway, that's where I am, I guess, in this time in my life. I don't know. But it's Helen Mirren and Ben Kingsley and Pierce Brosnan. Okay, so they are the members of the Thursday Murder Club. They reside in a nursing home, and not really nursing, assisted living kind of thing. And so, what else are they going to do? So they try to solve these cold case murders and things like that. And but it was one thing that was just struck me. I was oh, this was just crazy to see it. But Pierce Brosnan was in a swimming pool with all of the other residents, and they were doing, and he had a floaty on and doing water aerobics, and I was oh, there's James Bond doing water aerobics in his later years,
That's
you know?
funny.
So
Yeah,
it just struck me funny, but it was really good. And it's just a quick movie. It wasn't, I don't remember how long it was, but it was not very long, but it was good. I liked it. Then they kind of set it up where it could be done, but they could go on. So we'll see if they make another one or something, but it was a fun watch.
Awesome. I love it. I do want to check out that one you were talking about, The Truth About the Harry Kubert Affair. Because I love twists. I love when there's twists.
Especially when they're good, and not just all over the place and, they don't make sense and stuff like that. But it was well done.
Yeah. So I have a lot. So I'm trying to cut this down. And of course, everyone can always go to TikTok or YouTube where I give a lot of short recommendations. But Invasion is back. It's on Apple TV Plus, and I haven't started watching it because I'm waiting for my husband, but I am so excited because it's so good. So I can't wait to watch it. Really excited. But it's out. I just want to let everyone know. Also, Alien Earth is out on Hulu and FX. And okay, so here I'm with aliens. You're with murder. I'm with aliens. And that I've only seen a few of the episodes. I think it might be on, or I think I've seen 3 episodes. I think there's a 4th episode. So it's been pretty good. It started off a little bit slow, but it's starting to get good. And it's a prequel to the original movies of Alien. So I'm excited to see that. I am watching Amanda Knox on Hulu, The Twisted Tale of Amanda Knox. I have followed this since when it was happening. So, and I've read books, The Monster of Florence. And so I know kind of, a little bit more than maybe just people casually watching this. So I had a hard time trying to watch this because I know so much. It's like I almost didn't want to watch it because it felt so real. I mean, I don't know Amanda Knox personally, but I feel like it's incredible the things that she has had to endure, because it's like witch hunting or the Crucible and all that. People just accuse you, and then you're just like, burned as a witch, because of sensationalism. So anyway, it's been good. So if you don't know Amanda Knox, you can go check it out. And if you do know and you want to learn more, go check that out. I'm also listening to the podcast. She's on Armchair Expert. And so that's been an interesting listen. Oh, The Summer I Turned Pretty. It's on Prime. Are you watching this, Renee?
No, I have not.
Oh my God.
We pop up all the time. I'm like, I need to that.
Oh my God. Season 3. I just watched the latest episode last night. I'm hooked. I love it. Yes, it's young love. 1 girl, 2 boys, they're brothers, a summer house. It's got it all. So it's just a fun watch. For movies, I saw Broke on Netflix with Wyatt Russell, who is Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's son. He's really good in this. It's a contemporary Western, but also a survival drama, because he gets caught up in a freak snowstorm and he has to make his way, try to figure out how to survive, but it's intercut with his backstory, which tells him about like the pressures. He's a rodeo cowboy, and he has concussions. He has some pill addictions, and he has a girlfriend. And it's just a lot about, he has a father who wants him to have a purpose at every moment, and who's played by Dennis Quaid. And so it's just, it's a really good, solid movie. So if you're looking for something like that, look at Netflix. It's out. K-pop Demon Hunter is also on Netflix. This is usually not something I watch, but my coworker said, okay, you have to watch this. And let me tell you, the songs in this are so catchy. If you have young ones, they'll enjoy it. It's fun. The songs are like on Billboard's top whatever. It's like doing so well on Netflix and on the Billboard. So know that. I did watch Weapons in the theater. I enjoyed it. Was it my favorite horror? No. But is Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, and these 17 kids that go missing all on the same day, except for 1 kid. And so it takes you through that. It's more of a drama. Of course, it has horror and it has some gruesome moments, but it's not like a slasher film, right? It's not like throughout. It's more of a story. So know that. And the other one that I wanted to bring up was Freaky Tales on HBO. This is with Pedro Pascal, and it's 4 interconnected stories taking place at real locations and during real historic events in 1987 Oakland, California. So that's what makes that one interesting. It's not for everybody, but I thought it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I found it different, and I like when things are different. So those are there. And the last thing I want to say that's not on my list is I love The Sandman. And I might have said that already, but season 2, it ended. The whole series ended. It got me in the heart. It's so good. And everyone that has seen Sandman feels the same way that I do. So if you're a fantasy and you know anything about The Sandman, you'll enjoy it. It's out on Netflix. So 2 seasons. Very good. All right, Renee, thank you for your recommendations and your insights into Daryl Dixon's season 3 trailer.
Thanks for having me. It's always so much fun. And now I'm even more excited for Daryl Dixon.
Me too. I can't wait. And everybody else, you have to come back and join us because we are so excited. And also, if you have any TV or movie recommendations, please share with us. And we want to thank you guys for tuning in. We hope we gave you a laugh, something to think about. Remember to follow Screens in Focus and keep watching, keep exploring, and keep those screens in focus. We will see you next time. Bye.